Hey, Nerf Herder, I'm Addy Thomas.
And I am Ben Milton.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Certain Point of View as we take our step into a much larger galaxy that is the Star Wars galaxy and, whatever other nerd galaxy tickles our fancy. So you can find all of our past episodes on our website, Certain Point of View, along with other podcasts that are part of the Certain Point of View family. That includes the Scruffy Nerf Herders, which is a D20 game, an irreverent and absolutely insane D20 game.
Well, that last session was crazy. That's going to get so edited.
Oh, yeah. You know what? And I went a little crazier than I really intended
you
to.
went full nuts. It's usually me that goes too far.
Yeah.
And you were just like, I'm going all in. Put all the chips in the middle of the table.
Oh, I kind of thought it was a good one-off joke, and then it just kept on coming up. Yeah. And
welcome to my life, Addy.
Right?
Welcome to my life.
The next thing I knew was like, oh, I've made a huge mistake.
That's exactly how I got kids.
Along with that, we've also got another pass with Case Aiken. Ben, speaking of, making another pass at maybe some of your life's decisions, they do that instead with movies.
Yeah.
Something a little less permanent and a little less, scarring depending on how you feel about
bad
movies.
That movie is. Because we just guest hosted on that. Not hosted, but guest starred.
We guested on it.
Yeah, we were guests on that.
Yeah.
He had us in for Star Wars. So if you want to hear more Star Wars, check out that episode of Another Pass.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And we just coming off of guesting on it for Green Lantern, two-parter. So that's also fun. So you can check that. But it's not just limited to nerd movies. They've done stuff like Godfather 3. They've I don't remember if they did Rocky 5 or Rocky Balboa, but they did one. They've done a Rocky.
They all blur
movie
together.
Yeah, everything after 4 just kind of, it's a little,
Everything after 1, it's kind of.
You think so?
Yeah.
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 I feel like those first 3 are distinct, and then Rocky 4 is a mix of like, okay, this is what worked in 1, 2, and 3. Let's put it all together
and see what happens.
And attack communism.
And attack communism. But if I can change,
then you can change.
We can all change. Can't wait to see Creed 2.
Right. It's pretty good.
So is Rocky 4.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Rocky 4 fan, but yeah.
It's because you're too young for that.
That's
one.
true. I missed the Cold War.
Yeah, you missed the Cold War and the steroids era.
Right.
Action star heroes.
And that being said, Dolph Lundgren is awesome as Drago.
Amazing.
He's a great villain.
It's amazing.
An amazing villain. There's a lot to like about Rocky 4. So, anyway, coming back around, we have other podcasts also on the Certain Point of View family, and that includes Matt and Jeff with Fun and Games with Matt and Jeff as they explore the video game world. What's going to be really cool is they're going to be down here in D.C. for MagFest very, very soon.
So we're all going to MagFest.
Right, so this is our first time. This is going to be our first time actually meeting them in person.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. Hope some of you guys make it out there. Yeah, message us. In fact, if you want to message us, and I'll mention our next podcast in a minute, but you can chat with us at any time. We may not respond at any time, but we'll be chatting.
But then again, we might.
Yeah, we might. It is kind of unpredictable. We could be chatting at 2 a.m. and we, at normal times we may not be there. But at normal times, work hours, we'll be chatting it up on Discord. And we are so excited about hanging out with people. I know Matt and Jeff and MJ from Reignite have all been they've been great at hanging out with some of you guys that listen to our podcast. Yeah. And of course, we have all our social media, but Discord is just a great place to do that. We also have some voice chat channels, so if we have a particularly crazy discussion and we want to take it to voice chat, it's entirely possible to do that. So we'd love to hang out and chat. We'd love to game with you as well. Ben and I are avid World of Warcraft players.
And we keep trying to talk everybody else into playing with us.
Anybody we can, even if they've never played WoW. And in fact, if you've never played WoW, but you kind of in the periphery have kind of been like, you know what, I kind of want to play this. Or maybe you played Warcraft 3, but you never came around to WoW.
Or you played back in vanilla in BC and you just let it drop.
You just want to come back
and just hang out. And we have a blast.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. You can see Ben's streams actually on Wednesday nights and sometimes outside of that stream time as well. In fact, we're going to have some more maybe scheduled stuff that we're going to be doing as well that you can also track on as part of the Certain Point of View family. Matt Storm, who isn't in our WoW guild, is also streaming a lot, so you can follow him.
He was streaming Let's Go Pikachu the other night.
Oh, was he really?
Oh, I was so into it.
Oh my, it is so much fun.
So into it.
Well, it's funny because I got back into playing South Park: The Stick of Truth on my Switch, just to like, all right, let me I want to finish a game. Like I've done like an
3/4
hour
of everything.
No, not even 3/4. I've barely done anything for like 5 different games, and I'm like, all right, let me actually like finish something.
Okay.
So I was
wondering why I wasn't getting as many gifts in Pokemon Go from you.
Right. So we've got that, and then of course another podcast that we've got on our that's part of our family is Reignite with Matt again and with MJ Bradley Lestrange as they play through and deep dive into Mass Effect. You can follow all those podcasts on our website, certainpov.com. All right, let's go ahead and get into some Star Wars today.
Yeah.
So last week we didn't get to talk about the current episode of Resistance. Then we're going to talk about 2 episodes of Resistance this week. But before we get to that,
I got up early and watched them.
Oh, nice! You didn't watch it earlier than that. Of course you didn't.
No, I watched it today.
I know
at 5 a.m.
Of course, you had a whole week
to watch that one, not to watch the one that came out last night.
Oh, that's right. I
watched them both.
Oh, there you go. That's good. I think sometimes they actually post them early on the Verizon website.
I was streaming.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Makes sense.
So I got up this morning and watched it.
Nice. Yeah. So we got Resistance. Before we get to that, though, Star Wars Kids they've got a new YouTube channel.
How cool is that?
That's pretty awesome. Like, it's really interesting. So, like, you may have seen circling around the internet a little bit a new trailer for the Star Wars Kids YouTube trailer, but you weren't sure because it was sort of like I forgot what they were imaging it as, but a lot of these like digital shorts with this really fun sort of kinetic, animation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little bit more animes,
but using the original audio.
Right, and I watched
cool
that,
mix.
and I'd love to see them take the original audio and redo the movie in animation.
Shot for shot, and just animate it, and just.
Well, here's the thing. I thought maybe not shot for shot,
but beat for beat.
Yes, beat for beat. But here's the thing. Let me ask you this: if you were to do that, would you remove the John Williams score and maybe use some of the motifs again?
That's blasphemy, sir.
Well, here's the thing: use the motifs again, but rescore the movie.
Oh.
Because here's the thing: if you keep it, then you're more likely to do shot for shot, whereas you don't have room to reinterpret. So, here's the thing: when you watch some of this animation, you have the moment Luke grabs, gets the saber,
and he has the vision of jumping around and
the sword. You don't have do you have room to do that?
Whereas in the movie, you have him staring straight into
straight into the saber. He's like that porg that's on the cliff in
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's our hero, folks.
That's Porg Skywalker right there. There's an alternate story there with with an Obi-Wan Porg and a Luke Porg
and a Darth Vader Porg,
right?
And Chewie's involved in all of them.
Yep.
It's a good question. I don't know. I have such a hard time divorcing John Williams' score from Star Wars. To me, it's such an integral part. I would maybe. I would
re-engineer it.
I'd re-engineer it, but I wouldn't just abandon it and be let's put something else. Well, let somebody call Hans Zimmer and have him do a score for this.
Yeah, no. See, and that's what I don't like. The music is such a part of it. I agree. I don't want to wholesale just dispose it, but I also don't necessarily want the shot-for-shot remake to happen. I don't want necessarily certain scenes to play out exactly at the same pacing of editing.
Oh, okay.
If you, because in a way, this reinterpretation would be for kids.
Yeah.
Not that the originals aren't for kids, but maybe you do a few different things with the opening of for Star Wars, like, would you shorten up some of the stuff with the droids at the beginning? Would you do some more stuff with Vader and the Emperor? Like, especially in context now that the Emperor is an actual character at the time of remaking A New Hope.
Depends. Are you still planning on using like the original audio? Like, because if you're using the original audio, you're limited.
That's true. If you're using only original audio, if you have to, like, maybe have a couple patches in here and there with voice actors that you've used in Clone Wars and Rebels and Resistance and all that, then that's another thing altogether.
Yeah, yeah. It really depends on how you want to tell that story. I mean,
right.
I think probably this is the most effective way to do that, to do what they're doing, which is take scenes we're familiar with, audio that we know, because it's straight from the original source, and mixing it together in a new way.
That's true.
Like, I don't know that you could do a whole
movie
full interpretation this way. I don't think you could, because we're already talking about, like, all right, well, what are you going to do with the score? Okay, well, how are you going to, like, retell some of these scenes? If you're using original dialogue, it's going to be obvious that it's, somebody else for the Emperor or Vader especially.
That's true.
Like, Vader's voice is so distinctive.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to when it's
you would have to hire James Earl Jones.
You know when it's not James Earl Jones.
That's true.
Like,
no, you would absolutely
gotten
have
people to play that voice, and you're like, well, that's not James Earl Jones.
Right.
He's great, but he's not James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, it's a tough one. It's a very tough one.
I think this is probably the best way to do it, and I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited to show my kids, and to let them have those visuals and that story told that way. Like, it's such a cool flash of a story of, like, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And you just get, like, this, like, really cool, interesting video. It's an interesting idea because it also kind of, like, reinterprets, like, those scenes.
Yeah.
Like, how does that, like, are these canon? Like, where do these fall in the canon idea of, like, anything that comes out from now on is canon.
Right.
Like,
I could care less about canon, though. Like, I'm just not one of those people that needs to detail make every release from Lucasfilm fit in perfectly. I don't need to jam in, like, this weird piece from another puzzle into the Star Wars.
But that's why
puzzle.
they got rid of
the old canon.
Yeah, and started over.
That's
and
true.
Said, hey, everything going forward, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, these seem to be a little bit more like vision
dance.
Yes, exactly.
This isn't ballet. This is interpretive dance.
I was gonna go with more like shamanistic, like more Vision Quest,
because it does feel very Vision. Like when he grabs that lightsaber and he's just like jumping through the air and swinging it around, and the wind's blowing.
Yeah,
and, like it's very anime.
Yeah, and even like Vader's video was more like the pomp and circumstance of the Empire, and then the and Leia's was also like a very each was about that it was more character focused than plot focused.
Right.
So like that becomes a whole
interpretation of those scenes and those characters.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with that. Yeah. I think that's probably the right way to look at it. I was just curious, what their official stance is going to be.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of those things that necessarily
because it doesn't really retell the story. It doesn't change any.
No, it doesn't.
It's just a different look at maybe what's going on inside the heads of the characters.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Or even who they are and their potential and their journey.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So I think it's more that than anything else.
Right.
So
it's good. Whatever it is, it's good. I love it. Like I said, I'm going to watch them.
Yeah, of course.
And B, I'm going to share them with my kids.
Yeah.
They're going to love them. Aiden is going to go ape for these.
That's awesome. That's really what they're about.
It is. It's just about making new Star Wars fans.
So the other thing, before we get to Resistance, we've also been meeting for a long time now. And the good thing is we've had lots of guests on recently, and we've talked to a lot of different people. And there's been a lot of other major topics that have come up in Star Wars of late. But one of the things that kind of got pushed to the back burner was our exploration and catching up in the comics.
Yes.
So Poe Dameron, we're trying to get to the end of it.
God, are we trying?
But it's just been more time. It's been other things that have gone in the way.
Like you said, we've had a bunch of guests and other stuff come up.
And I think very soon we'll wrap up the Poe Dameron series, because the series itself has wrapped up now.
Yeah.
So we can actually get to the end of the series. We're hoping to get to Dr. Aphra soon, the new Vader series, which is also about to wrap up.
Very excited
that Vader
about that
series
one.
you need to read. But it'll be nice to get Dr. Aphra and the main Star Wars title read together, especially because they do cross over at a point.
Okay.
And I don't know if we even want to go to the beginning of the main Star Wars title and read the previous Vader series again along with it.
I remember it.
Okay, so just in terms of when the crossovers happen and everything, maybe we'll jump past Vader because I think we definitely did talk about that Vader series on the podcast.
I may just re-listen to that.
Yeah.
Then reread it again.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't like it. It's just time.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great reread.
It's fun.
But again, like reading it along with what's happening in the main Star Wars title, there is stuff that intersects in a big way. So anyway, we're going to be getting back to all of that, but today we're just doing Poe Dameron Annual Number 1, which I've actually read like 4 different times coming up to this, and I didn't read it this time around because I think I pretty much know it at this point. I don't think I can read it again as fine as it was. So
it's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good one-off story, but it seems kind of repetitive of Poe.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Well, there's 2 things that I really like the character of Poe.
Yeah.
And I think this does a good job of reinforcing the Poe that we see in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Which is impulsive, a hero, a flyboy, reckless, doesn't really think his actions through, just kind of is lucky.
Yeah.
And is being scolded by Leia. Like that's a reoccurring theme in this annual. And it reinforces that. And it's good. I like it. It doesn't really give us any new insight into Poe.
Right.
Which was a little disappointing, but
yeah, it was a nice one-off adventure.
Yeah.
With Poe, but it feels like, okay, this character is good, but
is there anything else to it?
Yeah,
like
how much more?
Yeah,
it's like, and that being said, like in a serialized story, like if you're having adventures with a character like this, he's a fun character to be a part of these adventures. But I almost kind of think like it's good that he's not always the viewpoint character.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there are other characters that can give a little bit more depth because he's definitely not one dimensional, but he is a much simpler character.
Yeah.
Because outside of what you just described him as, I don't know if there's really that much more to him.
Not yet.
I think maybe JJ as continues an arc for him going through 9. And what we see in Resistance, maybe we'll see some developments. We can't see too much in Resistance, obviously, just because he needs to still be this impulsive flyboy in the period that we're in.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I do. I think it's interesting that for a character that wasn't designed to live past the first scene you saw him in Force Awakens, has taken on some life and is cool, but the story can get a little too repetitive, maybe.
Yeah, that's my one of 2 problems that I have with this story. The second problem that I have with this story is BB-8.
Of course, yeah.
He can
you're
do
over
it
BB-8,
all. It's a cool character, but there's nothing he can't do. Like, he's able to get them out of every situation, and it's so frustrating to me. I'm like, he's a cheat code. Like, if you ever any Star Wars game going forward, if you just want God mode, it should just be BB-8. That's my complaint about BB-8.
Yeah,
he's a cool droid, and he looks amazing, and he's got a great personality, but they don't have to make him the key to every success,
right?
That I find incredibly frustrating.
Yeah,
I find it incredibly frustrating. As soon as it happened in this comic book, I was like, oh, come on, enough with this.
Yeah, I knew you were not going to be a huge fan of that. I wasn't in particular either. Yeah, it's why this one didn't resonate quite as much.
There's not. It's fun. It's a nice. Yeah. It's beautifully drawn. I love the artwork.
I actually really like the style of this one. So
like and what's great about it is every time we see Leia, she has a different hairstyle, different clothes.
Yes,
like it's so like that's Leia.
Yeah,
that's so badass. Like they continue that tradition with her and her facial expressions as she's talking about and comparing Poe to Han is fantastic, and like the pain and the love and the disappointment is all expressed beautifully in that storyline. But other than that, it doesn't really offer a lot.
Right.
It's not fantastic.
Yeah. So
it's not life-changing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not pivotal in the series that you're reading as well.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm expecting it to get much
annual.
better.
Yeah, you can skip this annual. It doesn't tell story that you need for the rest of the series, fortunately.
Right.
So yeah, it's one you can skip, but if you're a completionist, just read it.
It's a great read.
Yep.
It's fun.
So, moving on, let's talk Star Wars Resistance.
Yes.
So, all right, so we got 2 episodes.
I got up early for this. Let's do it.
Right? So, last week's episode was the Platform Classic, and in that episode we had Yeager's brother, Marcus Speedstar, showed up. I love that they call out that it's a fake name.
Yes.
It is one of my favorite. Like, at first I was like, Speedstar, and he's a racer. And then I call it out as a fake name. It was amazing.
Yeah, so good.
I was so happy that they did that. But we got some development for Yeager as a character and his family dynamic. And we find, Speedstar's got some debts to the Guavian death gangs, which we saw in Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool seeing those guys back because they had pretty cool design.
Mm-hmm.
And we also saw that his buddy, his mechanic was taken hostage until
he pays his debt.
Exactly. So he had to win this race. You're dealing with this race. Yeager is sort of goaded into racing his brother again. They race each other and they learn something about each other in the course of it.
As any good after school special.
Exactly. But you know what? But it was also us discovering their backstory through that as well. Yeah. So I thought it was I actually really liked this episode. I kind of give it like an A, not an A+, but like maybe an A-. But yeah, I think I
gave it a B+.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it was interesting. The thing I would have liked more in the racing side of it. Like I wanted to see that race more.
Yeah, that race was great.
It was fantastic.
I loved
when the TIE fighter guy.
Yep.
Goes after the brother. That was amazing. I want to see more of him.
Yeah.
I really want to see more of him.
Yeah, no, I was totally into that. Like, it seemed like, all right, so now they're adding a little bit of a Mario Kart element, like fighting. Like they're this isn't just a race. There's a little bit of foul play. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's down and dirty NASCAR style with lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. So I wanted to see more of the race.
Yeah.
But we're going to get plenty of that.
But even the race elements that we saw, I loved the whole going up to the edge of space.
Yes.
The rings turning off the engines and you doing the fall and then having to hit the right ring.
Or else you're going straight into the planet.
Right.
To turn your engines back on. Yeah, it was genius. It's they've done a lot with a little.
Yeah.
With very little bit, they've done a lot of storytelling. It's pretty impressive. I gotta take my hat off to them. They've told a lot of good story without. I mean, they're on a platform.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's been really good.
Well, I coming back to that race though, I feel like that was a great honestly, I'm trying to think, because that was one of the issues with episode 1, where as cool as the pod race is, the story that's told there doesn't feel quite as compelling. And maybe that's just the nature of the prequel of you already know that Anakin is most likely going to get freed and is going to win, all that kind of stuff. So, which I can't fault it because it's a prequel story. Like, naturally, that's the kind of design of it.
Yeah.
But, even then, it didn't feel like they didn't feel like they put in enough stakes for you to be interested in it. Whereas here, you're discovering information about two characters, but then you also have a cool race. Like this, to me, this actually felt more like it, which is funny. Like, just talking about episode 1, in the pod race, like obviously that race is sort of an homage to the chariot race in Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of a lot of great race movies or race action scenes right now, but that's one of the best race scenes ever in cinema history. You know, and especially for the stakes and the story and the character development that's going on in those moments. And this felt like shades of that, you know, having character development going on, and being carried out through
because
the
there's
action
actual
of it.
something on the line for this,
right?
Whereas in episode 1, there didn't really feel like there was any kind of stakes to that race,
right? Right,
because we knew the outcome.
Yeah, maybe if like Anakin was owned by the Hutts, or like, or if instead of making the world smaller, just make it another gang or something, but like making it actual like a cartel rather than a greedy mechanic, you know?
Well, even so, like we knew it doesn't matter who his slave owner is. Like we know he's going to get freed and he's going to go get trained by the Jedi.
That's true.
And he's going to, you know, turn. And,
like,
I guess
maybe they could have done something
there's nothing at stake.
Maybe there could have been something like, hey, you know, maybe Qui-Gon's life would be traded for his or something, you know? And since we don't know what happens to Qui-Gon at that point, like, you know, you can introduce some sort of stakes with it. You know?
Right.
Something
but
like
there
that.
Just wasn't any. Whereas this actually felt like it had some meaning. Like it had some stakes to it, because like no major character life was on the line, but the mechanic's life was on the line.
Right.
And
it was sort of a fun.
And he was a great character.
Yeah.
Like you immediately like this guy.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of. This felt like it meant something. This whole episode felt like it meant something. Like we were learning important parts to these characters that it's not. It doesn't end here with this race. Like
Absolutely.
There's going to be a lot more to this story, and we're just kind of discovering it, which is an exciting place to be with characters and a fun place to be with characters. And we didn't really get that with Anakin. You know, I never felt like, oh wow, like I didn't know he would be just as whiny as Luke.
Right.
You know, he's got. There's just a lot more room to play and a lot more room to explore with this type of story, which is again goes back to why I'm always saying like, let's get away from the Skywalkers and this time period of Star Wars. Like, let's do something else. It opens up so much more. It opens up to so many more stories than having to constantly be tethered to this giant ongoing story, which I love.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it expand more. And this is definitely heading in that direction.
Yeah,
which is
for
great.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even though it has BB-8 in it.
Well, you know what? He wasn't a huge factor.
He wasn't a huge factor in this one.
Yeah, if I think he was fairly irrelevant this episode.
Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't like single-handedly win the
yeah, right, with the race.
Win the race by himself.
I think the other thing that was also interesting, it was a pretty dark backstory too for Yeager and his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. His whole family being killed during a mistake that his brother made.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious to see, like, I want to know more about it because they talk around it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's hard, especially because it's hard to, like, hey, how in depth do you want to get this on a kid's show, too?
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I
and how much do we really need to know?
Right. I'm still feeling, and maybe we'll get into some theories for the future of the series after this. But so that was the Platform Classic. The most recent episode then is Secrets and Holograms.
I loved this episode.
This is right now on the state of the show. This is an A+ episode for me.
Me too.
Because I was into it in every moment. One, I really like Tordoza. I think she's a fun character.
She's amazing.
And her father, Captain Doza, is also a very interesting character as well. And we also have more developments with the First Order. In the course of this, we find that we kind of stick more with Tora than Kaz in a lot of this episode because she's kind of bored. You find out that she's kind of almost kept. She's being protected by her father and kept on the tower and really not allowed into the rest of the platform and the rest of space. And she's the kind of person that wants to do a lot of stuff and sneaking off. But she also, like, obviously she's not necessarily equipped to handle the people on the platform, because they definitely want a lot of answers, and they are in a different, there is definitely a huge divide as far as what her lifestyle is like, where she can just play video games all day,
God, I want to live her life.
Right? and she has so much luxury available to her, whereas the rest of the platform isn't necessarily living that kind of lifestyle. Right. So you have that, but then you also have, of course, Dozo's meeting with Commander Pyre from the First Order as they continue to try to pressure him into a deal for protection. And, of course, obviously we know they're the villains, and they're leaving it very open-ended to favor them and to take control of this platform. And you see Dozo's cautious, but he also, his hands seem a little bit tied at this moment, too.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of his options are running out.
Right. In the course of this, we also have Kaz sort of hanging out with Tora and finding out a little bit more about this dynamic. But also, he manages to sneak into Doza's office to try to steal some data. And, we have, some fun spy hijinks where one of the characters that he ran awry with early on in the series tries to catch Kaz, but he successfully is able to escape. But we find out that that Captain Dozo was formerly an Imperial officer at one point. So
a little dark history there.
Yeah.
A little checkered past.
Exactly. But yet he also seems like a guy who's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, I feel like based on what we've seen so far from him is that, yes, this is his checkered past, but he learned from that past.
Right.
And that he was like, oh, this isn't really who I want to be. The question that remains about that, though, is then why do you keep the officer's uniform?
Yeah, that's what I wonder about, too, but I wonder because he's we're out past the Outer Rim here. So, obviously, the First Order is something to deal with. And maybe he's also aware, of he needs to be able to play nice with both the Republic and with the First Order, So this is something that is a useful tool for him, perhaps, when dealing with the First Order.
Perhaps, but I mean when Pyre comes and when
he's not dressed,
he doesn't put it on.
Yeah. It's something maybe he could just, we don't...
For formal occasions.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just formal wear. I don't know. Yeah, that was my question about it. I was like, oh, it's an interesting reveal to the character. But the question remains, what is the impetus to actually keep that uniform if you're not down with what that uniform represents?
Right.
So there's a little bit of doubt in my mind about him still.
I felt it was more a plot device just to reveal that, as opposed to thought being put into what's a practical reason for that uniform to be there. Because you're right, if he is in some ways it almost is a little crazy that he still has it if he wants to play nice with the Republic as well.
Right.
It
seems self-defeating.
Yeah. So my thought is, and let's get into theory. Let's move past the episodes at this point. We're expecting reveals of who is a First Order spy. I don't think any. I'm not sure if any characters we've already seen are the First Order spy at this point, but I do think that Captain Doza is going to end up on the side of the Resistance. And this is more of just something to make you feel like,
cast shadow on that.
Exactly.
Go,
whereas I still kind of believe Yeager is going to be a First Order guy who's, because of now this darker past that's discouragement, because he seems a little bit more of a disaffected person right now, a very discouraged person, someone maybe who's lost belief in the things that he once used to believe in as part of the rebellion. Even though he's a hero of the rebellion. I wonder if we could see that this is the kind of person that might see, you know what? Maybe the First Order is the right way.
Yeah, the practicality of let's just stop fighting and at least it'll bring peace.
Order. Yeah, exactly. Order. Rather than the chaos and necessarily the loose rule of the Republic. Yeah. So, I'm still kind of sticking to that theory.
That's a good theory, and it's certainly plausible at this point in the story that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And that would be really interesting. That would be really cool to have somebody as a major character in season 1, like to then turn them like that's something that we haven't really seen in a Star Wars story before.
Yeah,
that would be really interesting. I do hope they do it. That would be great.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not an obvious choice,
right? But like, because I imagine like maybe the pitch going into this is like, because I feel like we're seeing a lot of like, these are the normal people in the galaxy, even though like the guy that Elijah Wood plays, that kid that's really annoying and has it out for Kaz.
Yeah.
You know, even though he's like, oh yeah, well, he's clearly going to end up allied with the First Order, like, or we already know he is connected to the First Order. Like, I wonder where they're going to start playing with like, okay, like, where do normal people fall in conflicts like this? Like, how do you approach, like, you know, brother fighting, the brother fighting brother type of dynamic that, you know, a lot of people often associate with the American Civil War? Like, is there room for that in this Resistance and First Order dynamic? Right. Or do we automatically have, like, no, you're absolutely a jackass.
What is the more subtle reasons why somebody would choose to support the First Order or the Empire?
Right.
You know, like from previous stories, it's always been pretty heavy-handed in those reasons. Like, you're obviously a really big bad guy. You know, like, there's nothing nice about Grand Moff Tarkin. There's nothing nice about Darth Vader. Right. There's nothing nice about.
But in the cartoons, they've actually been able to get into much more nuance.
They do a little more. Yeah, they've started to create some more gray areas and some more reasoning for people to make the decisions that they are. And this I think has that ability too. And I think they're definitely going to continue to do that.
Exactly, and that's been true for both Clone Wars and for Rebels as well.
Right.
You know, with the variety of characters that they've pulled into those series.
Yeah.
So I feel like that same spirit, you know, definitely exists with the crew that's working on, like, the cast and crew that's working on Resistance. So I'd really be interested to see.
I wonder if he turns into a Saw Gerrera type character.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. Yeah. A neutral, someone who, well, he's not neutral, but more guerrilla, more independent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little more militant.
That's true.
Aggressive.
I don't. Yeah, maybe. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him going either one of those two ways of, like, full on, like, I'm just going to support not the Resistance, the First Order.
Yeah.
Or no, we're not doing, like, we need to really guerrilla this up and make this a dirty. If we're going to win, we got to make this dirty.
Right.
We're not going to win by playing fair.
Right. Yeah, that'd be interesting to add that shade to it as well. I'd definitely be down to see that. So,
a lot of possibilities.
Exactly. So, let us know what your thoughts are. Of course, you can always join conversation with us, not just on our social media, but more importantly, just join us on Discord. Seriously, just
so much fun.
Yeah, you just message us. Did we post a link on the website yet for Discord?
Not yet.
So we'll be doing that soon, obviously.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to join on Discord. Well, I'm expecting we're going to be redesigning our website soon since we've got some new podcasts. We've already started. Yeah. Yeah. So that's something in the process. If you don't see it, just message us on social media. We'll
put a link in the description of the show.
Yeah. There you go.
We'll
do that. So, yeah, you can check that out, and you can join our discussion there. We've got lots of channels for all of our podcasts. We've got everything from podcast recommendations. You can suggest potential show topics, especially like for another pass. Mm-hmm. You know, all sorts of stuff is going on there. Game recommendations.
If you'd like to just tell us how stupid we are on the Scruffy Nerf Herders,
right?
That's available to you.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Or if you're just like, seriously, Addy, like, you really went there on that episode. You know,
no, they'll never know about that because I guarantee you, Case is going to edit that. That was like a 2-hour long.
Let's see how much you really edit.
That thing's going to go down to like 20 minutes.
Let's not pretend he hasn't gone blue. And
oh no, yeah. He'll go blue, but he ain't going that blue. He ain't going to do it.
Well, you can check out all of those on our Discord. Just go to our website, certainpov.com. You can find all that information there. In fact, if you'd like to support us and be a part of what we do on the podcast, you can do that through Patreon. You can find out more information there on our website, certainpov.com. And until next time, stay scruffy, my Nerf Herders.